they're still keeping them there as hostages, effectively. Neo-Nazis started shooting at the Chinese students who wanted to leave Kharkiv, and 2 of them got injuries. So hundreds of foreign citizens are trying to leave the shelling area, and they're effectively kept as hostages, and they're being offered to go to Lviv and then immigrate to Poland that way. Our military have provided corridors in all areas of contact without exceptions, so that civilians, including foreign citizens, could leave the areas. I would like to emphasize again, nationalists are not allowing them to do this. Moreover, they are saying to foreign citizens to go to their authorities, who need to address Foreign Ministry of Ukraine. Worse still, neo-Nazis are treating their own population as human shields. Our military are also pointing out that in Donbass and Severodonetsk and Lysychansk and others, citizens who live in high-rise buildings are being forced to go to the lower floors, and they put cannons on the upper floors and other equipment, and they put snipers on top. This is how Nazis behaved when Russians fought them, Germans in Ukraine. Unfortunately, we have losses, and our duty is to support the families of our military who are fighting for our people of Russia. To all family members of all the fallen soldiers, they will receive insurance payouts, and each member of their families will receive financial compensation. But moreover, I believe that it's necessary to set additional payments to the military and other forces that are participating in this operation in the amount of 5 million rubles. All military who are participating in this operation will also receive additional payouts, insurance payouts plus compensation for any injuries. If a soldier is not able to continue his military service as a result of this operation, they will receive a payout of 2.9 million rubles, and this has been put in law already. I also believe we need to ensure additional payments to the staff of the Ministry of Defense and any injured personnel in the amount of 3 million rubles. I would like to emphasize again that our officers and soldiers are fighting for Russia, for the peaceful life of citizens of Donbass, to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine, so that we do not have anybody who is threatening us at our borders, including threatening us with nuclear weapons. And we are proud with our military. We will remember our fallen comrades. We will do everything to support their family, their children, to support their education. And I ask you to honor them with a minute of silence.
Пожалуйста. Уважаемые товарищи, хочу сказать, что специальная военная операция идет в строгом соответствии.
Dear comrades, I would like to say that special military operation is being conducted strictly in accordance to the plan and schedule. All objectives that were set are being resolved or achieved successfully. And our Minister of Defense will give more details.
Well, there we are. We've been listening to Vladimir Putin in Moscow. This is Mark Austin here with the News Hour from Lviv in Ukraine tonight. And I'll just go through what President Putin has been saying to the Russian nation. Basically, he was saying that the special military operation, as he called it, was on schedule and going to plan. He then talked about a posthumous award for a senior Russian general who was killed in Ukraine. He was a hero, he said, a national hero. And in fact, he's still speaking. Let's just have a listen.
Standing their duty. Even after injuries, soldiers and officers continue to fight. They sacrifice their lives in order to save their comrades and peaceful citizens. In the course of fighting, our military and the formations of Donbass and Lugansk showing heroism. And we see a great example in Donetsk region. Fighters under the command of Brigada, they were able to break through a very strengthened line of defense that had been strengthened over the last 8 years. The commander of the tank detachment, during his fight, destroyed 5 tanks. On the 25th of February, the head of the Lovkin, Alexei Lovkin, encountered 15 tanks and 6 BMP of the nationalists. And having attacked them, they destroyed all BMPs and 5 tanks, having achieved the goal without any losses. I signed an order. To award Gaji Magomedov the status of the honor of Hero of Russia posthumously. As a real commander, he was protecting his soldiers. Having received a heavy wound, he continued to fight. And
yeah, we're going to interrupt Vladimir Putin. He's saying what he's already been saying, in fact, to his what appears to be politicians or his Security Council. Good evening to you. We are in Ukraine this evening. Our Security and Defence Editor, Deborah Haynes, is with me. And I just want to tell you a little more about what he said. He said that this general who had been killed here in Ukraine was a national hero. He was giving him a posthumous award. And then he made a series of claims that are simply not based, as far as we know, on any evidence at all. He said, the fact is we're fighting neo-Nazis and foreign fighters, and they are using civilians as human shields. Hundreds of foreign citizens are trying to leave the areas where the fighting is happening, but are being stopped by the Ukrainian military. He said, we are making humanitarian corridors, but the Ukrainians are not letting people out. He said, the Russian and Ukrainian people, this is telling, the Russian and Ukrainian people are one. And he said, even if many Ukrainians have been brainwashed, and he then called for a minute's silence. Well, alongside me, as I say, is Deborah Haynes. And Deborah, I think it's the first time we've had such an update since special operation, as he called it, began.
Yeah, since this invasion, this war, which are two words that apparently Russian media aren't being allowed to use. And I thought it was interesting as well when he said, he gave this update and kind of made out that everything's going to plan, whereas actually on the ground it seems the opposite is true. This was supposed to be a lightning encirclement of Kiev, the capital, a toppling of the regime, and an installment, the regime, the government, an installment of a pro-Moscow regime. And yet where are we? Eight days in, the only city that seems to have potentially fallen to the Russians is Kherson in the south, and even there is still fighting going on, and an armed forces representative on the Ukrainian side contested the idea that the city had fallen to the Russians. So the idea that President Putin is putting across that it's all going really well doesn't match, like you said, with reality. But the really interesting thing as well to say in all of this is the information war that's going on. We're living in two alternate realities. There's the reality as you and I see and feel and know and hear and can talk about here in Ukraine and across much of the rest of the world. But in Russia itself, many people aren't getting free access to different forms of information. So they hear what President Putin says and they don't have any other counter to that. So they presumably have to believe it.
And the reality is, as we speak, a brutal siege of Mariupol and attacks on other towns and cities, the like of which we're witnessing on our screens now. But the siege of Mariupol is turning into a truly brutal attack.
Well, the reports coming out of there are horrific. The city under siege, like you say, under attack, under bombardment, and officials saying that it's actually too dangerous to get people out, the wounded out, to get them for help. And right now, or this evening, you've had these talks taking place, a second round of talks between Ukrainian negotiators and Russian negotiators at an undisclosed location. The Ukrainian negotiator actually tweeted a picture of it. It's interesting. You had the Ukrainians in their combat fatigues, the Russians in suits and ties. And one of the requests on the Ukrainian side is for a ceasefire for this humanitarian corridor because their people are suffering, civilians are suffering.
And a clear sign, though, that President Putin is not backing down in any way.
No, and we had that, didn't we, today from that phone call from the French President, Emmanuel Macron. You'll remember he's the one that seemed to have the closest rapport, relatively speaking, of Western leaders with the Russian president. He went to Moscow, didn't he, before all this happened, and sat on that long table and tried to negotiate some kind of drawdown or stop from the invasion, which failed. And the phone call today, the readout from the Elysee, was really depressing. President Putin insisting that he would continue until he achieved his aims, which, let's remember, it's not just about Ukraine, it's about the security architecture of Europe. And President Macron saying to him that his attitude, calling the government here a Nazi regime, is just delusional.
All right, we want to talk about that just a little bit later.